In this Clash of Clans video, we have a battle of the titans, alternate attacks versus Blacklist as part of the ESL Meisterschaft, the German Clash of Clans championships. Both teams on top performance, and you will see every single attack, so we know who wins right at the end. Now, if you do want to catch more of the 5 versus 5 wars, I have a playlist here on YouTube, which looks just like this. Also, if you want to catch these live, I do my live streams on Twitch, Facebook, and Trovo. The links are down in the description, but without further ado, let's get into this one. Boom of alternate attacks with the hybrid. Now this is going to be an epic matchup between alternate attacks and Blacklist as part of the German Championship, the ESL Meisterschaft. This means a lot to the German community, and they will be doing everything they can to try and be victorious. Boom, obviously the player with the opening 3-star in last year's World Championships for Tribe Gaming. We know how strong of a player he is, and he starts very confidently here with his queen charge to the western side of the base. Enemy queen and scattershot alongside the eagle means he will get really good value. Look at that freeze spell, perfectly timed onto not just the scattershot but the queen as well, and it allows the attacking queen straight into the base. And this is little touches that really make Boom one of the best players in the world, makes him one of the best players in the world, recognizing the cannon out of reach, just putting the one balloon. Queen will now be able to get through the ice golems with the king on the right hand side. It looks good in terms of pathing for the miners and hogs to move straight in, and look at the area to the right hand side here. Boom almost has a natural funnel created. The only thing that could mess up pathing is Tesla, and since the king walks around without popping any Tesla, it doesn't look like there's a huge stack of them there. So majority of hogs and miners do indeed go to the center, to the town hall as predicted. King takes down the single inferno and then starts tanking the scattershot. It looks incredibly good for Boom here with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. Hog Riders coming out of his siege barracks. It all depends on the next heal spell placement, but Boom waits to deploy it because the king still tanks the scattershot. It goes down, and with 80% and climbing, a ton of troops everywhere, Boom is going to open up this war for us with a 3-star attack, celebrating with the Royal Champion ability. Such a mass army of troops to bring home the 3 stars. Max on response for Blacklist, using the other very popular ground-based attack, which is the Yeti Bowlers. Now the Grand Warden starts off to the side, interestingly holding back on the healers. We can presume because the air defense is close to this area, ends up having to use the healers but keeps them out of range of that air defense, and one wizard which he wanted to create the funnel is quickly sniped off by the Tesla, which pops, and a balloon is needing to be used. So that is good on defense by Jojo. Oh, the balloon across to the left again finds Tesla, and this means he now does not have balloons to test in front of Yetis moving into the base. But more importantly, Max does not get his battle blimp in towards the single. I can't help but think that Jojo trolled him there and had the tornado trap waiting for that battle blimp entry. Will not get the single and really doesn't get too much value from the Yetis in that area. Unfortunate for Max, not the start that he needed. Single quickly locking onto Yetis, and he has to be quick to get through the center of the base here and try and just get as much damage through as possible. It looks ever less likely that a 3-star will come in. How on earth does he get this town hall? We still have the Royal Champion, but I think he's hoping that his troops get there, and indeed they do. The Barbarian King jumps on top of that town hall, takes it down in a flash, and as long as we can get through the scattershot to the back end, which the bowlers get good bounce value to, then the percentage should indeed climb. We still have a jump. We still have a rage. One bowler stepping up to the mark, but it's not enough. The jump spell relatively swagged at this point because the troops do not even get there. This is where I talked about in my spell video recently that you have to try and take flexible spells if you can whenever you are doing one attack formats. One of the examples I gave was the jump spell, because if it's not needed, you can't use it anywhere else. So in this one, Max is not going to give the response that's needed. Now we still have a rage spell. We still have one wizard, so surprisingly, the percentage will be a lot higher than Max could have expected, and that is often credit to the attacker and how they are able to just keep themselves calm, try and make sure that even if an attack is not going right, that you focus and you try and get as big of a percentage as possible, using the king and wizards to quickly power through another couple of buildings. He will get into the 80s. Now often with community tournaments, the benchmark is set at around about 90, so he's a little bit short of that. However, it's not the end of the world for Blacklist. They keep the percentage high, but they are already a star behind with that amazing attack by Boom. This one will finish off though with 87% for Max of Blacklist. So Volley coming in with the drag bat. Now earlier on today, Volley was involved with one of the community tournaments and he was able to pull in a very nice 3-star, but can he do it with the drag bat? Using the royal champion and the queen to suey this area first, and with one freeze spell takes down the single inferno, and then the queen will continue to take down some of the other buildings. Now it's not the end of the world if the queen doesn't get too much more value, because there's nothing over here that will harm the dragons, but really what Volley wants from his queen down the bottom is to continue pathing. By taking out the cannons down there, it just means the dragons have a straight path down through the base, and that is exactly what he needs here. One scattershot falls. He will be wanting to try and get to the town hall and second scattershot before the bats come in, but the single inferno locks onto them, and they are going down fast. Dragon stuck inside that tornado trap. Scattershot is still in sight, but the stone slammer is lurking over to that town hall. Will it have enough to get through? The Grand Warden's ability catches some dragons. If Volley can get the town hall, it will be good for bats. He still has 6 bat spells, 3 freeze spells, and not a lot of base left. Now the bats come in from the top with one ice golem tanking the wizard tower. He only has to freeze the scattershot and the wizard tower to the bottom. Will have to use a second freeze here. He doesn't. He loses so many bats, Volley. He wanted to save 2 freezes for the wizard tower at the end, and unfortunately it was not what was needed. He really needed to freeze the scattershot, and that is where, if you are not careful early on, you can end up with no bats, and now the final freeze is pretty much worthless. Uses it on one balloon, so whilst the 3-star might not have been an option, and he took the risk knowing he needed 2 freeze spells for the wizard tower, he would have indeed been better off keeping that higher percentage. However, it is a team effort, remember. Alternate attacks already ahead by a star. So what this means is Blacklist are still on the back pedal, and despite the lower percentage, alternate attacks are still in the driving seat here. However, if Blacklist were to get a 3-star, remember they kept the percentage high on the first attack. What that would mean is they could leapfrog alternate attacks and they would take the lead after the first 2 hits. However, this one for Volley, not what he wanted, 67%. Ooh, this is an interesting base. It is one of the troll bases, a Legend League style base, where you really try and bait in the 1-star. Now, the difficulty with these styles of bases and why they work is it's tempting to push into the town hall at the very top. But if you do that, all of the percentage lies at the bottom of the base. So even though you might get the 1-star, you can quickly hit all of the traps and end up with a low percentage. percentage. So often you are better attacking from the bottom of the base if you're going to get a 1-star to get the higher percentage. However, we know the talent of Blacklist, they will not be expecting a 1-star. They will be going for the 3-star, and what we're doing here is creating brilliant pathing but getting really good SUI value from down the bottom. There's not a lot of hit points down here, but there is a lot of percentage. Notice by the heroes, a couple of funneling troops, they are already closing in on 50% of this base. The Queen didn't get the expo, which isn't the end of the world for a Lalo attack with it being on ground, but it might have helped momentum of the balloons that a little bit more. Now he does catch a Tesla farm across to the right hand side, so quickly adapts, places a haste spell, and in comes the battle blimp. Now this is interesting because he might want to Warden Tome early here to catch things. He doesn't, but decides to freeze, use the skeleton spells, double skellies to take out the Queen. Very intuitive there. Underneath the rage spell, Town Hall goes down, and that looks tremendous coming through this base with the Dragon and King tanking the scatter shot. It now turns to the balloons, and it is unfortunate. 1 extra second. If the balloons could have got on top of the scatter shot, they would have stood a really good chance. However, it's not meant to be here as the balloons crash down to the ground, and it is again a very high percentage, but not the 3 stars. So whilst alternate attacks do not have as high of a percentage, they are ahead by a star, and you would far rather take the star than the percentage. But it opens up an interesting opportunity because all Blacklist need is that 1 3-star, and they take the lead. Linnaid using the hybrid. This is the attack that alternate attacks had their initial success with. Now notice the bowler on the elixir storage, bouncing across and getting the builder hut. Very useful to set up the funnel here. And we know how creative Linnaid is. Now the unfortunate thing is he does not get the Dark Barracks. His Queen does step in the right direction, quickly puts a minion on there because he knows the Archer Queen could be tempted by that building, but she's very much got her sights set on the Town Hall, which is exactly what we want. Now a Lava Hound and a bunch of archers is becoming quite a popular clan castle option. Linnaid recognises again that there's very little health on the Archer Tower, so sends the balloon in just to help take that down. Won't get a black bomb from that, but will exchange and get the Archer Tower, which is helpful, and then the Queen can step forward to get the Expo, Grand Warden Altar, and most importantly the Town Hall. Notice as well she has this little channel to walk around in towards the Scattershot and Multi, and she will take that route because he's already sent the hybrid in from the left. So Linnaid starting out very clever here, walking the Queen exactly where he wants her to go, and with the siege barracks across to the left hand side, that will hopefully keep his hybrid coming through the centre. 1 scattershot takes a hold onto the hybrid, but the Queen tanks the next one. Miners and Hog Riders next to the enemy Queen, freezes that and the scattershot, so gets really good value. Majority of the splash damage down now. 2 single target Inferno towers, but with only Wizard towers, the Queen's ability, the Royal Champion's ability, and a Hog Rider Marathon coming through the base. It does look good for Linnaid and alternate attacks. This could be 2 stars in the lead, as this would be their second 3-star. It looks ever more likely as the Royal Champion slams home the Seeking Shield. Hog Riders step forward, and it is all but confirmed now for Linnaid. What a beautiful attack, starting with such a succinct Queen charge, helping her pathing with the hybrid, and the Royal Champion can solo the final defenses as he can set the iPad down, start to celebrate with alternate attacks, which is now a commanding lead. 2 3-stars in the bag. We need a response by Blacklist now. ESI Turbo recognises the success that alternate attacks are having with the hybrid, and because they need a 3-star, he opts to use it himself. Now this one really would have to be a 3. Mathematically it could still be possible, but it slips ever further away from them if they do not get this one. A little bit late on the rage there on the Queen, and this could be costly. I think he gets away with it as the Queen health slowly gains in value, but the test wall breaker and the regular wall breakers go in different directions. Quickly adapts with a rage spell, and that really works out nicely for him because he gets 2 layers alongside having the rage in place for the healers. What a brilliant move by ESI Turbo. In comes some more wall breakers. They might get caught in the tornado trap. They don't, but in combination with the rage, he gets not just 1 layer. Oh, but I jinxed him. Nearly getting 2 layers towards that eagle. More than he predicted though. So he's definitely got amazing value with the regular wall breakers, and it looks good. The only concern is there is a lot of spells been used onto the Archer Queen. Now, the siege barracks across to the right-hand side, you will notice the P.E.K.K.A. and Wizards create a nice funnel. That just means the Hogs and Miners can now drive straight in towards this Town Hall area. Queen still dealing with the enemy Clan Castle troops. In unison, they work together though, but with the enemy Queen stepping up, automatic ability goes off. I don't think it's the end of the world. Hogs and Miners get to that Town Hall, but the Grand Warden's ability has gone before the Giga Bomb goes off. Again, I think ESI Turbo got away with that. Most of his troops were out of range, but it's really whether the scatter shot can go down here. The Queen is tanking it, has to freeze it alongside the single target Inferno to keep his Queen alive and keep his hybrid in the chance of a 3-star. Royal Champion targeted by the single, using the ability. It does look promising, but the Queen falls, and it now relies on the healers helping the hybrid through. They get to the single, get flung off by spring traps, and it continues to fall with 43 seconds. There is enough to do this. Wizards, Miners, Grand Warden, there is 6% of the base left, but with giant bombs going off, the savior it could be. Miners getting confused here. Wall breakers, archers, anything to try and tank for the Miners, especially through the splash damage of the Wizard Tower. The final one continues to do damage. Is it enough to get the cannon? The Grand Warden at level 50 should be able to do this. Another giant bomb goes off. Grand Warden stepping up to the plate here. He's got to get the air defense in time. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and there we are. Blacklist with the 3-star they needed. Game on, my friends. Jojo23. He is known within the community as the Lava Loon expert. Lalo23, often he is nicknamed. But in this one, he goes with an empty clan castle. 2 barbarians got flung off the map, but I'm not sure there was anything in that battle blimp. Nothing seemed to happen. I think he wanted the scatter shot, obviously, but it looked to me like 2 barbarians got flung off the map. I wish we could watch it in slow-mo to see what happened. This is not what Jojo needed, but it is exactly what Blacklist needed. I think he recognizes at this stage that he's got to secure the 2-star and keep alternate attacks in the lead by that star. As they move forward here, Jojo pushing everything into the Town Hall. The Tesla farm might pull some of the Hogs and Miners. He doesn't have a lot in terms of backup plan here, but majority of them should be drawn onto that Town Hall. Royal Champion is there. It will momentarily go down, but a Dragon and Witch comes out of the Clan Castle. This is dangerous. He's got to try and get that Dragon down fast before it does too much damage to his troops. He has 2 heal spells and probably wants to use them quickly. One of them does get placed in with the Giant Bomb and Scatter Shot doing work, but with both scatter shots, the enemy Queen laying into the Miners. They go down in a flash, and the final heal spell pretty much swagged. Nothing he can do. Notice how close Jojo is with the Queen. Royal Champion taking down this final area, and despite not having the Clan Castle troops to take down the scatter shot, he gets ever so close. If that area had have gone down, hypothetically, the scatter shot and the single target Inferno, I think we could have been looking at a very different attack here. Jojo keeps the percentage high for alternate attacks. 80% it is. but Blacklist will be rubbing their hands, the momentum slowly shifting into their favour, fresh out of a 3-star attack, keeping their percentage high for each and every attack. If they can get another 3-star, they will take the lead, moving to the back end of this war, and we will be in for a nail-biting finish. Now, anytime you do an attack, you always want to make sure you get the highest percentage possible. So with 30 seconds on the board, Jojo will put his feet up and happily sit and watch the minions slowly chip away at the gold storage. Now, it does give alternate attacks a little bit of time to reflect here and make sure they can get into voice, discuss their plan as a team for the next attack, but coming down into it, we are going to have a pretty close war here. Blacklist could take the lead if they can get the 3-star that they need. So the replay proved it. It was 1 Valkyrie and 1 Barbarian in the Battle Blimp, but no Yetis. So a mistake on the team aspect there, not quite having the Yetis inside the clan castle. How costly will that be? If Blacklist get the 3-star, they will move to 75% total destruction. Meanwhile, alternate attacks are only on 50. However, Scarlett of Blacklist wanted his battle blimp a little bit deeper here. Might just get the single target inferno, but the scatter shot survives. Single goes down, which means the Archer Queen can indeed charge into this base, but in terms of a hybrid, we really wanted the scatter shot, and it's difficult because the hybrid will most likely, where are we coming in from? Maybe direct into the town hall. Either way, it's not ideal to have 2 scatter shots up. Would have been nice to attack head on. Now, you might not believe this, but I actually attacked this base in the Clan War Leagues, and the way I did it was I used a Grand Warden walk to the town hall down here. I used my siege barracks to the left. I jumped the initial compartment, and I used 4 earthquake spells to open up the rest, getting damage onto the eagle, 2 scatter shots, and both of the Expos. And believe it or not, I was able to get through the middle of the base incredibly fast. If only Scarlett had have seen my attack. However, hybrid is the method of choice. King coming down to that 6 o'clock area. Hybrid now has to come in. The difficulty lies in terms of attacking both of the scatter shots. Queen is doing well. She will survive here. Hybrid doesn't have amazing pathing up to the top scatter shot. Should get to the town hall, but he doesn't have a lot of hog riders there. They go past. He's relying on the miners now. The town hall does indeed activate. Has to use that Grand Warden's ability early. Decides to go with a rage down there because the town hall has to go down to keep things on track. Royal Champion fortunately in place. Town hall goes down, and as the hogs and miners continue to come through, he freezes 1 scatter shot. Miners get to the other. Is it going to be enough to get through? It looks good for Blacklist with the Royal Champion's ability doing work, the Queen stepping up, being tagged on the wall the entire raid was a good thing for the Queen because she comes through at the end when she really needed to. Who cares about earthquake spells, Yeti smash, anything like that? Scarlett knew what they were doing from the start. Blacklist with a 3-star will take the lead over alternate attacks here, and we only have 1 attack remaining. Blacklist now in the lead on percentage by 5% total destruction, which is 25% of a real term base. This just got exciting, my friends. So we have Ast of alternate attacks with the Yeti Smash. This is make or break for alternate attacks in the ESL Meisterschaft. They are behind. They are 25% behind, so they need to win by 25%. But if Blacklist get a 3-star, that's it. They cannot be caught. Ast has a little bit of a funnel to the left-hand side with the Grand Warden across to the right. Now, he's already 40 seconds in with not a huge amount of value other than the funnel. Slowly stepping forward here. we will probably see the troops deployed soon. Normally around about the 1 minute mark is all you want with your Grand Warden. He does have a bit of a deeper funnel here with the Grand Warden. As soon as the Wizard Tower goes down, that's when the Yetis come in. They will pull the Grand Warden down to the south. Most likely, we will see the Battle Blimp come straight over the top of these troops in combination with the Grand Warden's ability, because that will mean it comes behind the Air Sweeper, or he could switch to the Wall Wrecker. Doesn't, goes with the Battle Blimp. And then we will see the Grand Warden's ability. Now, the positive of pulling the Battle Blimp over the top means whilst it has the Grand Warden's Tome, it will get to the Town Hall and it might tag a Black Bomb in order to protect the healers. So under Rage, the Yetis do very good there. Take down the Town Hall, take down the single. However, the Yetis didn't really get good pathing through the base. One single remains and we have the Queen, the Royal Champion, and Ice Golems in the area protecting, with a single lurking at the back. Now the bat spells come through. This is where, if Ast can take out the Wizard Tower, he might be able to get this. Probably wants to pop the Royal Champion's ability to get that down. There it goes. Wizard Tower down. Bats coming through. No defenses left. And with 47 seconds, Ast is doing what he needed to do and getting the 3 stars. So now, despite Blacklist carving the percentage advantage, it does not matter. They would have to get a 3-star to catch up the stars. It means that alternate attacks have done what they needed to do. They come in with 13 stars, and although Blacklist had the percentage advantage, they still need a 3-star in order to win this. We mentioned 90% being the benchmark. That is exactly what alternate attacks come in at. But Blacklist have the potential of pulling home 95% total destruction and the victory. Here we are, Lucas, with what has proven to be a very powerful and successful attack. The hybrid for Blacklist for the victory. 3-star or bust. If Blacklist 3-star, they win this matchup in the ESL Meisterschaft and alternate attacks despite a 90% total destruction 13-star war will go home as the losers. But Blacklist need to get their 3-star. Currently, as 3 stars in 4 attacks, that is a 50% hit rate, so they have a 50-50 chance of doing this, you could say. Lucas wants to shift that in his favour and make it 100, clinging onto the Queen's health there, wanted to save her ability, and as she sideswipes out of the way, she keeps it, which is obviously advantageous moving forward. Now the poison spell can catch the archers, then it will be near enough to get most of the lava pups, and it also is in place to slow down the Royal Champion. Notice the one bowler just slowly chipping away and taking down the gold storage. That will allow the Archer Queen through to the Town Hall, and he wants to just swipe the rest of the base with the hybrid. I think as long as the Queen can get the Town Hall, he's going for it, risking everything, knows he needs the 3-star. Queen will step in towards the Royal Champion and Town Hall. Hybrid coming in from the opposite side. You can't help but think that the Siege Barracks and the King have not created the funnel quick enough, so the King's ability is used to try and push the Miners and Hogs through this base. Queen on offense, stepping through with the Rage spell. This is phenomenal by Lucas, doing everything right, using multi-phased attacks, spells all over the place, Miners and Hogs charging through, get through the remaining major defenses with the Queen's ability, the Royal Champion's ability, Miners, Hog Riders, Balloons, and freeze spells. Lucas is doing what he needed to do for Blacklist, and can you believe what an epic dramatic war we have on our hands with a swagged freeze spell to celebrate victory over alternate attacks, who, remember, have qualified into the World Championship qualifiers already, swagging the freeze spell, swagging the Queen's ability and the Royal Champion's ability. Blacklist come in clutch in one of the most dramatic wars we have seen in Clash of Clans. Who would have thought at the start that they could have such a comeback as of this? But 13 to 13, 95%. They kept the percentage high throughout, and what an incredible matchup we have seen.